So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Satsang. Let's make some silence first. Pure devotion. It is the perfect state, the end result. The pre-dissolution. As a seeker of truth. That is what's need to be sought. To achieve pure devotion is not easy. Everyone thinks their devotion is pure, more or less. God brings forth the circumstances to test your devotion, to give you an opportunity to purify it even further and further and further, deeper and deeper. God provides circumstances, opportunities, but the choices are yours. You choose to embrace, to hold on to God, no matter what the circumstances are, or to turn your back on God. Because that's the only two things. Either you're embracing God or you're turning your backs to God. God means the gate of the source for the individual. Going through the gate is merging with God. Pure devotion. So once again, good morning everyone. Welcome to Satsang. Just reminding everyone that we use WhatsApp as a means of communication. The number appears on the comments. You can send your questions directly to me. So I started this Satsang with pure devotion. And I will illustrate this a little bit to better understand. Because there's a lot of misconceptions about what it is. Surely I will not be able to clear all those misconceptions. It's impossible, but because misconceptions, they come from the individual part and they differ by far, so it cannot be done. There's no point also. So there's a story in the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, that speak about Prahlada. Prahlada was the son of a demon king, a demon, a very strong and powerful demon that had subdued even the deities, the devas, everybody. And he was forcing everybody to devote themselves to him, because this is how it works. But Prahlada refused to give devotion to his father. Instead, he embraced Vishnu as the only one, the only source of his devotion. And of course, his father, Hiranyakshipu, I think, or Hiranyaksha, because they were two brothers, but forget about that. He didn't like it, so he ordered for his servants to kill his son. And facing that imminent situation of losing the most precious possession a human being has, which is the physical life, the life of the body, the life of that individual identity, he stood firm in his devotion, unshaken by it, and he couldn't be touched. So some would look at that and would say, look, he's a good devotee, so God has protected him, didn't allow anybody to touch him. But that was not the case, because pure devotion is the highest power. And it is the source of strength and protection in itself. If that devotion wasn't that pure, you wouldn't be able to withstand that. But that's too simplistic. Too simplistic. There's other nuances in this. Because what would happen if he got crushed or burned as they tried to poison? What would have happened to him if that body would die, but the devotion was pure? So you think, no, but if the devotion is pure, this cannot happen. Yes, it could. But where would he go after that? Because that's always what counts. It's what comes next. And this is not for others to see unless it is. So in this story, which wasn't just about Prahlada, it was about every demon, human being, and deity. It was a story for Prahlada to live and for all that were watching in that moment. And millennium beyond that moment, it was a story for all. But sometimes devotion is pure and these things don't happen, but only the one who is living it and reaping the fruits of it will know the purity or not with what comes next. If the devotion is pure, separation with God ends. If the devotion is not pure, it doesn't end. And the less pure it is, the further it goes, the distance increases. The more pure it becomes, the distance reduces. So many stories, many of these stories, they have ways of developing because of the needs of everything. The divine uses these stories. For some, they are stories. For others, they are actual experiences. So that to inspire, to direct, to give you a direction. So the real protection is the purity of your devotion, the intensity of it, despite the result. Despite the result. And purity is a very important word, perhaps one of the most important words in these times that humanity is going through, that seekers of truth at this moment of time are going through. Because, well, spirituality has been ended, a lot of things have happened to it. But where it survives, it's dead, more or less, because purity has been killed. So this is the one thing which is missing the most, not completely absent, of course, but missing the most. And I see many prominent seekers of truth, knowledgeable and strong and all of this. But usually this is the part which is lacking. So understanding scriptures, spiritual teachings, having that vision is important. Of course it is, but not crucial, not fundamental. And sometimes it can be an obstacle. Many times it becomes an obstacle. Because usually there's understanding about a lot of these spiritual teachings, the highest philosophies and all of that, but is greed motivated. And never forget this, you are your own and only obstacle to liberation. The existence of that individual self. And as your quest is greed motivated, about something you have to gain, then whatever you're doing is, in a sense, feeding this individual character, giving him a future ahead. And that is counter dissolution. And whatever devotion is there, it is by far not pure. It's an investment. You're showing your devotion, you're full of love, of course. When the sun is shining, when the birds are singing, when spring is coming. And as the divine, as God is compassion, He sends you winter so that you have an opportunity to evaluate the depth of your devotion, of your purity. And in that winter, that's where you really have a clear vision of what your devotion stands for. If you are still full of love full of divine love, full of love for God, holding on to Him tightly. It's like, let's put the seeker of truth meditating. So it is meditating outside of his house. He is there surrendering. He has made a prayer to God. He is full of devotion, of reverence, and he seeks that ultimate communion. Because that ultimate communion is dissolution, is become one with God. And a fire starts in his house. A little smoke, then some flames, then the noise of the burning starts entering the mind of the seeker of truth. And he has two choices. Let's sum it up to two, but it can be more. In that moment, he can see, look, I'm here praying to you, God. Why do you are burning my house? Why do you allow this to happen here? Let's imagine demons put the house on fire. So that seeker of truth may get up and try to save what's left, the important things. And if he gets up and doing that, well, one thing it is clear, salvaging his belongings is more important than that ultimate communion. He may think, if I'm here dedicating myself to you, why do you allow those demons to do that with my house? Or he can look, wow, I was here devoting myself to you, and you give me the blessing of eradicating everything that I was still considering important apart from you. You are allowing me, you are giving me the blessing to only have you, God, to hold on to without entertaining and losing any more time with anything else. So this is major part. But as you get up in that line of reasoning, and he starts getting inside the house, which is burning, whatever he takes first from the house is the most important still. So he'll be able to see, by which he is salvaging first, what are his biggest attachments. And he may not get up in a bad mood with God. He may still be in a good mood with God. So God is still there, and he is salvaging what is more important. But he already made a decision. He got up from the meditation. So that's one decision. So salvaging his attachments was more important than that ultimate communion. What he salvaged first reveals what's most important. What salvaged second, third, fourth, fifth reveals also the rest. And if by any chance he gets up and he is in a bad mood with God because he allowed that to happen to him, it means that he was there sitting in front of God for greed, for what God should provide in his mind to him. And he may not see it immediately, but somewhere, someday, if it is a seeker of truth, he will acknowledge it. He will be disturbed by it, and he will seek for forgiveness. He will have realized what God has shown him, and will seek forgiveness. But whatever you do, you never do it to God, you do it to yourself. That is the thing. So before you ask for forgiveness, seek redemption first, because that is, one thing means the other. So in this example, we can see, and any one of you can put yourselves in this situation and see what would happen. And you will see the intensity, the depth of your surrender, of your devotion. And it's not intelligence. It's not smartness. It's not a high IQ. It's not that. If these can help, yes, but they can be an obstacle also. But in the end, what matters is the purity of your devotion. And God is helping you all the way. If He burned down your house, He is helping you. If He built a big house or a small house, whatever, He's helping. These are just different circumstances. In your mind, this can be reward or punishment. But these are just different circumstances for you to be put in so that it reveals what needs to be worked next. Where do you really stand? Because everybody thinks that they are pure, their devotion is pure, and they would go through the biggest challenges. But they only know it when they come. When they come. And it's a very different situation. The seeker is there meditating. He is completely sincere, surrendered. Yes. And if you ask him what would happen when that fire started, he would say, I would let go of that. I would let it burn, surrender to God. Majority would say that. But they only would see it when the fire started. So to have this final stance of fire starts and your heart is full of gratitude for that fire, because it is removing the last attachments, that which still distracts you. A lot of work has to be done previously. A lot of vigilance, awareness, attention to details, hard work. If that hard work is done, you wouldn't go through, oh, my house is on fire, oh, I'm going to lose all of this. No. Love, devotion, gratitude would overflow from your heart. So whatever results you are getting, whatever you are seeing, it is revealing. And it is always opportunity. It's never a punishment or a reward. It's always opportunity. And this is the perfect example. And to reach this high state, a lot of good decisions, of good choices have to be made. And a lot of learning with the mistakes also, because it's not about what you can do good, it's what you can learn in whichever you are. But to learn that, values. When it is time to plant, the only plantation you are doing is of values. Highest values against the lowest values. And in that final moment, when the fire begins, what will happen in you will be according to what was planted. If what was planted, what was uprooted was the lowest values, attachments, materialism, greed, and all those things, that's what will erupt. If the highest was there, if God is the only thing that matters, when it is confronted with anything else, then that's what will come. It's like throwing a lot of seeds into the ground without knowing which seeds they are. You may think it is one thing, but you'll just know when it blossoms, when it gives fruits. Prior to that, you may not know, but in that moment, you will know. And if that was not what you wanted to plant, uproot it all, plant again. More conscious, more aware of what you're planting. And sadly, this is very far from the majority of seekers. And I'm talking seekers with great potential, reaching higher states of consciousness, of perception. Those that are successful near other seekers when they tell about their experiences and their vision, they seem wise and all of this. But devotion, if it is there, if majority of times it isn't, if it is there, it is an investment. So seekers come, they want to be a disciple, they want to surrender themselves. They want all of that because they want the ultimate prize, and they have figured out that that is the way. So their surrender is an investment towards a high achievement. It's very difficult to escape this. Yes. So what is God's reply to that quest? Well, it brings obstacles, difficulties, so that you have an opportunity to stop being greed motivated. Because what impels a seeker of truth is both forces are there. The force of the individual character, of illusion, and the force of the higher self, that which is divine in you. Both are there. It's what you embrace that makes the difference ultimately. And what happens with these seekers? It's that they don't know what service is. And service for them is the most important thing. Because in the end, yes, I surrender to this master because I believe he knows what he's talking about. He can guide me there. So I'll surrender to him. He'll take me to liberation. But this surrender is because of this reasoning. So if the master is a master, eventually he will start giving you difficult choices. And then if you're there evaluating, okay, so he said me to do this. Oh, this, I think it's good. I think it's good for my process. So I'll embrace it. But then he asked me to do that. Oh, that's not good because I'll be tired, I'll be restless, or it's going to be difficult. It will disturb my meditation, it will do this and that. So probably not a good idea. But the master is saying so. So there, a dilemma is there because it is greed motivated. It is mental. And the relationship with the master, it cannot have that kind of filters. Because it's not about what is being asked to do, what is there to be done, what is the direction. It's about opportunity for surrender. That's all there is. And as you engage in this, it doesn't matter what kind of decision you are making. Oh, I agree, I will do it because I agree, I understand the logic. This is a very another central pillar for these seekers. They understand the logic, so they do. But they are making the decision, so they are the master, eventually. And if you are your own obstacle, your only obstacle, oh, you may understand a lot of things, you may become more intellectually wise, you may, but no freedom. Freedom will not be there. So it's like eating real food, real nutritious food, and your body not being able to assimilate it, to get its nutrition. And if you don't understand these basic elements, you'll just be wandering according to where your mind is taking you, the decisions that are possible, and it will not grow. And eventually you'll be done with frustration. And maybe that will give you an opportunity, depending on your level of maturity. There are many stories of seekers going to ashrams and seeking a master, and full of ideas. Oh, I'm going with the master, who will instruct me, I will meditate all day and do this and that. And then these are old stories. They would go to the master and he would put them just to work, physical work. Do this, and then carry this to that side, then bring it back here, then take it somewhere else and somewhere else. And even no spiritual practice. And he would get confused, and what is this? This cannot be a real master, and this and that, because it conflicts with my ideas, and la 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 la. And that was real instruction. So the majority looks at spiritual practices as synonymous of well-being. And this well-being, this balance, harmony, as the fruits of this. And they are. But in the middle of that, before that, there is your own chaos. If it doesn't get out, there is no real peace, no real harmony. And just looking at from the standpoint of peace and harmony, it's still much, much, much aligned with the vision of well-being in worldly life. But the name of the game is liberation. And that's a different ball game altogether. In the end, what matters is the purity of your devotion. The purity of your devotion is the end. Intelligence is a very good tool. But the ultimate intelligence is when your mind works to take itself out of the equation. That's the ultimate intelligence. It's countercurrent. Not sure if this exists, but it goes against what appears to be natural. And there's many obstacles. Many obstacles. But these obstacles may appear bigger or smaller according to the way that you are using your time at each moment. If you are using it poorly, you will see obstacles much, much bigger. If you are using it wisely, these obstacles will be much, much smaller. And without being exposed to certain circumstances, you wouldn't know, you wouldn't be able to see what's still impure and what needs to be worked. And you would be convinced that, well, my devotion is the purest and still no God inside, no liberation, no divine communion. Is there a God? Because he should be here already. Because I'm ready. God is not here. Maybe there is no God. He has not acknowledged the brilliance of my existence, so he must be fake. This is why they say, dogs bark, caravan passes. Either you get the idea, you get the vision, or you don't. And this is why Gyan and Bhakti are two wings of the same bird. And it doesn't matter where you go, from which side of the wing, which wing you embrace, the other one has to flourish. So if you embrace the path of Gyan, Bhakti has to be its fruit. And only real Bhakti brings Gyan. So Bhakti, real Bhakti, pure Bhakti, is difficult. Because you are your limitation in a way. Because in your eyes, you are completely sincere. This is why fire has to be set upon that which is still precious. And this is a blessing that only the real seeker of truth can embrace. All others will get up and try to put the fire down, try to salvage everything which is there without seeing. I'll give an example for this. Very simple example. If you're listening, you will know. Someone went through a very intense retreat, and when it returned home, was very upset, couldn't meditate for 2 or 3 weeks because the dog had disappeared. And then came to me asking, what should be done? How would that situation be resolved so that she could resume her practices intensely? It was a big problem for many reasons. And I asked, so you came for an intense retreat and that attachment has been taken from you so that you could focus even more in your meditation, and you're upset? You should be grateful. Just a small situation, but same is there. As that attachment was taken away, meditation ended. Confusion, chaos. Blessing could not be seen. But the blessing was there. So this is taking you time. You're trying to intensify. You've gone through an intense retreat. Okay, so let's remove this attachment so that you can dive in even further. Blessing was there, but was not being recognized. So the eyes that you use, they have to stand into the right values. And always look, what is the highest message of this? What is God trying to tell me? What else is needed? What more can be done? So first, you thank whatever is coming. And if there's difficulty in understanding, reflect or give time for it, but appreciate it, embrace it. But that's always difficult during the winter. For sure it is. If you spend autumn, spring, summer just singing and dancing, winter will be hard, will be impossible to survive. But if you have worked, you will have a very good winter. A time for celebrating, for more communion. So the real seekers of truth, they learn to make winter their spring and spring their winter. Hello, Philippe. That is a very good reading. And we are in Brazil also, on the same planet, apparently. So, pure devotion. All your intelligence, all your perceptions, all your wisdom means nothing if you're not directing yourself to pure devotion. And understand that the real quest is full of hardships and difficulties. If you're not seeing this, if you fancy other ideas, you're just a seeker of well-being, at least for now. And I'm sure of it, that that's not what you'll get. I'm pretty sure of it. Sometimes you seem that you're getting, but that's just emptiness, disguise of well-being, of happiness, just emptiness. Just emptiness. And some people say, but what is sacrifice? Sacrifices are not needed and blah, 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 blah. Because they are in the game of win-win. They are greed motivated. So it's about what they gain more, not losing. Losing, it's not the name of the game. But everything that supports that individual identity with its characteristics will have to go one way or another. So that moment that you're sitting outside, your house gets on fire, that is one of the biggest blessings. Not everybody gets this. And from those who get them, very few can handle it in the right way because of what they've done previously. But one should prepare oneself for this. Because if God is burdening everything that you find precious, it means that He trusts you. And He has been listening to your requests. Those who are greed motivated, pay attention that whatever you ask for is listened, but the answers they don't mean, because you are asking for things that you don't quite understand what they mean. You have ideas about what it means, but you don't understand what they means. Then you get surprised. Then you get surprised. Okay. So for today, that's it. Next satsang will be Wednesday, 9:30 in the morning, Brazilian time, UTC -3. Until then, make the best use of your time. make it real.